Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Hardwork Project, where we discuss what it takes for young, aspiring football players to make it into the wonderful world of Premier Pro League football. On today's show, we have a top guest by the name of Jabo Ibehre, who is a former Pro League football player with over 700 games played and 150 goals scored throughout his career. I'm your host, Collington Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host, Josh Skies, who is just no ordinary co-host, but is our co-host with the most, and also the founder of the Hardwork Project. So guys, let's just get straight into it. Jabo, so we know that you've just recently retired. So tell us about your career, how you got to where you are now, and what you're doing with yourself now.
Oh, thanks for having me. Welcome to be here. So basically, I recently retired in December, and it honestly goes so quick. I remember many years ago when we used to have like an educational guy come in. He used to say, "Enjoy it because it goes like that, and just like that, it's done." But I'm lucky enough to have played the game for 20 years. It's been incredible. You learn so much, and my journey began, and I would sort of say I was a late bloomer, I could say. I didn't get into football. I wasn't going to football at 5, 6 years old. I started playing ball. I actually started running first. I was into athletics, and then my friend's brother used to always see us kicking around. He said, "Oh, you guys should just make a little team." And we're from Islington. Used to play in like a place called Oldham Park and a place called Cape, and people from our area would know it. Rep. And we started playing ball about 10 years old, and we would just beat all the older guys. We were little boys, but we'd just beat everyone. So then it just went from there, and we then formed this 5-a-side team that grew to a 7-a-side and whatnot. And then I found out there was like a soccer school for like a Leyton Orient at the time. So I thought, okay, let me go down there. So I went down to Hackney, that's where it was. And I'd go there I think it was a Tuesday and Thursday. I'd go and train. Eventually, I got through to the actual trials at the academy place. And I got through straight away. And my journey began. I think I signed there when I was 12. And then, but 17, I was playing in the first team. And then about 18, I think I was worth a bit of money, and I got some moves and stuff like that. But I mean, it all just happened. But then I say when I got to about 15, I really started taking it seriously. Before then, I just let it flow. I just didn't really think too much about it. I knew that I was enjoying it, and I always say, you do your best work when you're enjoying it, when you're happy.
Yeah, most definitely.
And I found that at that point, a lot of kids now find that they get that chance into that football role, but it's like, I have to do it. Relax. Keep working hard. Do it with a smile. It will come more naturally. When you often find when you're uptight about things and you're too headstrong about things, sometimes it just doesn't happen. But when I got to about 15, that's when I thought, what, I've got a chance here. And then I knuckled down. I weren't sort of influenced around by what my friends were doing, because often as I've got older, I get to see that when you're a youngster and you start football very young at 6, sometimes parents are like, yeah, he wants to play football, they drag them along. The kid hasn't got a choice at that point. Yeah. Then they get to an age where they start seeing things. They learn about music, TV, girls, and suddenly they can speak for themselves. Mum and Dad, I don't want to go training today. So there's a certain age point, I think when you get about 15, 16, where you're either going to continue on that trajectory, or you just start finding about clubs or girls or other interests. When you're 6, 7 years old, you're under your parents' wing, innit? What I mean? So that was a crucial age for me, I thought, and I think that's a crucial age for many players that begin very early. That's what often, when I get friends ask me about their children, when do you think you should do it? I always often say, let them enjoy it. 11, 12, 13, And I often say as well, I think, when you're a bit rawer, sometimes you want to go into a club having like a trump card, something special about you. You might be mightily strong, quick, good feet. Mm-hmm. When you're going very early, some of that rawness just gets coached out of you.
Yeah.
You become like a very technical player like everyone else, but that trump thing that you can't teach.
Yes, it's not there. Yeah,
It's not there when you go in too early and you kind of lose it. So I often said, if you go in later, you can learn the finer points of being a professional player and how to the technicalities and learning about the game. But that special thing, you just still own. It's not coached out of you. You still got that rawness. And I found it worked for me. Actually, I got to 15, and the difference from, because I was around other peers that were at clubs and at higher clubs and stuff, but the difference was when we got to 15, 16, when we started, they will start going to hit clubs, obviously under 18 clubs and stuff like that, but I wouldn't go. I would play on a Sunday, because them days you play your matches on a Sunday. So if I was going on a Saturday, like how can I perform on a Sunday? So I wouldn't go. And then those simple things just made me propel. My other friends were finding out about girls, started to go out, they started going the other way.
But that's very interesting that you say that, because I'm sitting here and I know 17 is a very young age to play first team football. You know, of course we know about the likes of your Wayne Rooneys and even the modern day your Phil Fodens, who started off quite young, but there's a handful. Do you understand? Who actually play in the first team at those sort of ages. So, and I think you've already led us quite well onto what, like the reasons why you could do that, because when it got to 15, 16, you switched on. Do you understand? And you was focused on trying to play football. You knew what you wanted to do, which was be a professional, and you switched on. And I think that was just a important point to highlight, that you did break through at an early age, which not everyone does. So I think that's very good. But when you broke in, did you stay in the team? How was that experience for you? What did you find?
What was interesting, and I guess not many people would know this. So when I was 15, I would sort of, obviously I was at school, and then on my half-term holidays, I would go in to train with the YTSs and stuff. Yeah. And then occasionally, because when you're a youngster, they kind of just sort of push you through, and you get like a 1 or 2 sessions with the first team, and they drag you out. But honestly, I used to shit. I used to turn up into like the training with the youth team. The older boys would be like, "Oh, please don't let me go in the first team." I used to dread it because I was just so nervous about it. Yeah. But what I found for me that calmed me down and made me focus was, like, I would go to the park and practice. I literally would go after my training session, or if I was on half term, I'd be dreading it because I'd just be with the older guys and be questioning, am I that good? Am I good enough? So I'd go whack the ball against the wall, practice touch, back and forth, turning, shooting. So when I was around them, I felt like I belonged. Yeah. And then once I got in around the first team, I would do that before a match. I'll go to the park at 10 a.m, just whack the ball against the wall a couple of times, do some shots, turn up at the first team dressing room at 1 o'clock. No one would know I've done that, but it gave me that confidence, you know. And then I was in and out at 17, so I think I made a substitute debut at 17. I made about 3 or 4, and then I come out, and then sort of like didn't progress then until I turned 18, and then it was just like I played in the. We needed to play the final game of the season. We had to like secure our playoff place for the I think it was League 2 playoffs then, and so I made my starting debut at 18, scored 2 goals. We secured it. Played every single player semi-finals. Ended up playing at Leyton Stadium. Yeah. At 18 in the playoff final. Wow. It was just a madness, like. Yeah. And I hit the post. And I was like, and so then I was around the first team from then, and then I just kicked in from there. But all I can say is that I listened to the pros around me. Yeah. Try to take in as much as I could, because sometimes when you're that age, you think you know a bit yourself. But I had to sort of like listen to what they told me, and there was some good pros around, and you know, and I think some of that's lost, say, modern football today, because certain jobs in terms of like then I used to clean boots. I had responsibilities like cleaning the dressing rooms. My job was the restroom and cleaning. I can
never imagine any of the kids today having to do any of that.
You know, and it's changed.
I think even some parents would probably be kicking off. Well, you got my son working. Yeah, you understand what?
My son's not here to clean boots.
You know, he had to concentrate on football. What parents don't see, and sometimes parents get a bit involved too much, leave it to the coaches and certain things. It's that learning about responsibility as a player, very young, and getting that relationship between yourself and your senior pro. You know, it ain't about just I'm cleaning boots and I'm annoyed. It's about sort of me being a youngster, looking at a pro thinking, one day another kid's gonna clean my boots.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I used to think.
Yeah.
I can't wait till someone cleans my boots. And that communication with a senior player. So when I'm around the first team, he's seen me, he knows me, he looks after me. You know, he knows I'm a good guy.
So it will help with your progression into the first team because you already have an ally in there, somebody who is taking you under their wing. You understand, and
they're looking out for you, and they've been there, and they're pros. So he's going to give me his gems. So we're getting that bond. But if you don't have that bond, who's giving you those gems? As a youngster, you're not going to get those gems. And even when as a pro in recent times now, when suddenly there are no jobs, you don't know the youth team players unless they come over to the first team as an extra or they're good enough to be around the squad. We don't really know them anymore.
There's no contact, there's no bridge to really the first team.
No. So then having...
And I suppose as well, so you had reserves as well. So you're going to be playing with first teamers, playing against men, so on and so forth. So there was more of a bridge from academy football into first team football
100%.
Then there is now.
And back then it was a big deal. Like you there were stages. You know, you would go from like schoolboy, it was called then YTS was like now what they call academy. Then you go into the reserves. Then it's first team. It was all kind of done. Now it's just like your academy, your academy, then under 17, under 18s, under 23s. But back then the reserve league was like full of men. So if you got into the reserves, you're like, it's a big deal. Go home and tell your mum, I'm in the reserves today. You know what I mean? I'm on it. So, and again, it's another bridge, another step in your development. Now it's just like you could be 23s, but you're still with kids. You ain't getting men or senior players from other clubs playing.
You'll get some 17-year-old that they're pushing up.
Exactly. So you can get lost in that 23s business and I'm here, but is your development still progressing at the same speed? And it isn't, you know. And I think if you're a young kid, 16, 17, 18, playing 23s, you're going. If you're 20, I think you need to go on loan. You need to go get manly experience and stuff.
So you were saying that your career recently ended in December. So do you want to tell us, like, I don't know, what's happened since then? What are you doing with yourself?
So basically, so I played for various teams, like I said, Leyton Orient, Barnsley, Dons, Colchester, and a few more to go. And my last team was Cambridge, and I had an injury, like a bad knee injury, last year October, which kind of never healed. And I tried my best to get back, but I was advised it's best that I stop. So and that's my retirement in December, which was like when you've just sort of made your mind that it's going to happen, but until you announce it and it's real, you're just like, oh wow, it's done. All this, And then I had like all my old managers just texting me or ringing me up and old teammates. It was quite nice. It was quite overwhelming, to be fair. But then you just really you look back and think, cool, you know what, fair play. You did the thing. And like I said, I'm an unassuming character. I just go about my business. I don't really, I'm a football player. I don't live the life of the football player in that respect, sort of thing. So and when you get all this feedback now, it's a bit like, okay, all right, fair enough. So it was nice. So I've often been into many things away from football, and then whilst I was injured, I had an opportunity to sort of do some recruitment work and scouting at a club in the Championship. And I never thought it would be probably what I might enjoy, because when you're playing, you don't really see yourself on the other side as yet. But then I got into it and I thoroughly enjoyed watching players and, looking at a kid thinking, cool, if I can drop you a little gem, you could go somewhere, you could be really good. And I see that side of things, and I'm watching the game, buzzing, thinking, go on, ooh. And then because of the club I'm at, if you do well, it just can change your life. It can really do that. So you always want to help. And when you speak to a nice kid after a game, like, you're good, mate, and blah blah, you think, can drop him something and go and work it, you can go, and I kind of like that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's
Like
interesting. You're giving back. Yeah. And I've got, like I said, with the games I've played, experience, and the amount of time I've played, you should be giving something back to help the next generation, you know? Especially from where I come from, our area was full of players, and it'd be nice to see more players coming through from Islington and stuff like that. So I've always just been down and there to represent. So I started to do recruitment, and then we've obviously gone from there and done our own recruitment consultancy as well, which I'll touch on a bit later. But in the aspect of what I'm doing now, so in that recruitment for Brentford, the club is, you know, it's interesting what you now look at than what I would look at when I was a player.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking at players now, especially youngsters and like 17, 18, first team players as well, it's just little things that people won't expect you to be looking out for. So one of the interesting things, warm-ups. You get there a bit early. If I know I'm here to watch a particular player, I'll be watching how he warms up, what he's like.
Does it differ with age, or does it really matter?
I think, don't get it wrong, I think when you get older, especially when I was playing, I began to know what I needed. So if the S&C coach is doing certain stuff, and I'd be like, that don't work for me, you know. So I might just chill out. But what I do afterwards is proper sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I think when you're a youngster, once you get to that level where you know
what works
for you, you got to do what the coaches tell you. So I'm seeing a guy just like, and don't get it wrong, everyone's individual. So you might get people that I used to be players that would have their laces still undone in the warm up because they're just not ready yet. The socks might be down. So, but because I've played, I understand that. There might be someone else who hasn't played but sees your laces undone, your socks down,
and thinks,
now this guy, we've got a game in half an hour. This guy's not ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it could be like a cross against you just simply because of that. They're already looking at you. The game starts and they're thinking, well, okay, we'll see what he's like. But if you're looking presentable, you're on it. You're ready. The scouts thinking, okay, let's go. There's no marker against you.
Is there like a particular age that you recruit for? Is it or?
So I recruit for say 17 for the B team, 17 to sort of 21, and then first team, which is upwards to wherever. But then you kind of want to be in and around sort of say 17 to 24, 25. But then, like I said, by then, if you're 20, 27, 28, people know who you are.
Yeah, people know
who you are. You've been about by that age. You're not going to be a 28-year-old down in the park.
Yeah.
Where you been for the last 20 years?
Believe it or not, I get phone calls from those guys there still telling me that they think they can play.
Yeah.
So.
You have what you look for. But what about what the club looks for, generally?
Yeah.
Is that different to what you...
Yeah, I think... So you obviously watch the team you're recruiting for, and you kind of know, you've got an idea of how they play, the sort of player in that position. So it gives you an idea when you're looking at a player, what you're looking for. Is he going to fit into this? Can he link well with his fullback if he's a winger? Does he like... You might have like a midfielder that plays intricate passes through the lines to the front man. So you think, does the striker make good runs off that pass? It might be a big striker bullying everyone, but does he move well? Is he going to have that relationship with that midfielder? So I'm looking to see if he fits into the team, as well as am I buzzing off him as a fan, like thinking, right, he's good, sort of thing. So the club will have like a system of play, and they might play 4-3-3, 4-4-2. So the player has to fit into that first. Then they'll have like a profile of, some clubs would want like, is he quick? Has he got pace? Has he got power? Has he got technical ability? If you're a defender, has he got a spring? Can he jump and can he play? Because as you get higher, you need to have all that, but you can ball as well.
Yeah.
So then there's those criteria, and then it's just your own feeling of knowing what kind of like, and I do it of like I know what the club's looking for. I know the sort of player that fits into, because there's no point in getting a ball-in player if the team just goes long.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So you get to know the profile play the club's looking for, but at the same time, you get that instinct. You look at him thinking, he's
like
good.
him.
I like him and stuff. But then before all that though, so if he's warming up or doing certain things, that might be a jink in his armory that as a former player you kind of know he's got this, he's got that, but boy, he can switch off because he does something that you just go, you know. So that's why you don't know who's watching or when they're watching.
I just want to bring you back to a point that you said a few minutes ago about in the warm up and about you could get a X on your name from just a warm up. So it's just interesting to know that that is where the scouting starts from.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But I more want that message for the players, as in to say to them, okay, so I'm a scout and I'm coming to watch a match. I'm looking at your warm up. I'm looking what are some of the things that players might need that wouldn't necessarily come to mind that they might need to
take into consideration.
Yeah, when they're playing.
A lot of the times, I mean, body language is massive. I think, you know, I wouldn't judge because there's so many individuals in today's world, and whatever you do, I like characters. I like people that have just got a little bit of something about them. I like people that are thorough and focused, but I like someone who's got a bit of edge, a bit of something about them. So I would never sort of necessarily write someone off because
they didn't pull up their socks.
Yeah, something like that. But if he's got his socks sort of like pulled down, but he's walking strong, he's walking big, looks the part, I'd be like, yeah, it's a dude. But if you've got your socks pulled down, you're looking a bit dishevelled and you're walking, it might work in the opposite way. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna be a bit different, have it with a bit of presence. Stand tall, have a bit about you. You know, bang, I'm here. You know, and you know, do your work thoroughly. So when you are doing your keep balls and stuff, I'm not saying you have to be amazing, because I tried just to get through the initial warm up, and then once we had time on our own to do our bit, that's when I do my sharp stuff. When we do the keep balls and going through little passing drills, I'll be like, my muscles ain't quite ready yet, so I'm not gonna just bang it out hard. But like I said, I got to that point when I was a bit older because I knew how to do what I was doing. When you're a youngster, I just think you've got to be thorough. You've got to be on it. You've got to be looked to be, you know, when you're running, you run sharp. You go and line back. If I'm looking at a player and he's dropping short of the cone, I'm noticing it. I'm thinking, okay, you might cheat a bit. You might not get back. And you might think, oh, that's a bit much. But really, he might not track back to the advancing winger or pick him up, and then that little half a yard that he's missed might be the difference in them scoring a goal. So
I got taught a little jewel on, I think, one of the early episodes. If you've not watched it already, go back and watch it with Keon Edwards, Arsenal, and he said that in training, in sessions, he doesn't miss nothing. You don't miss no reps. No, he takes every session seriously, because he said that it catches up on you. You miss one today, you miss another one tomorrow, that's 2, you understand? And then you find out that in a week you've missed 4, and that catches up to you. Match day, it will catch up to you. You don't see it.
You think it's nothing.
Yeah, you think
it
nothing.
all amounts to something.
But it, you know, it catches up. It's like a boxer. I've done a bit of sparring before as well, and just a bit. But I remember there was this guy, and he used to come and he used to look good. He used to come and train with us and do a little thing. He wanted to be professional, you know what I mean? But I would notice him when the coach ain't looking. He's relaxing. He's not going to do a rep. And I mean, I was just doing it just for fitness, but he wanted to be a professional, and he had a fight coming up as well. And I'm seeing him. Just miss it. I'm saying this guy, when it comes to the fight, when it comes to fight day,
I knew it.
He was out in it. So it's just important, like you say, they catch up on you in it. You miss, it will catch it.
It does catch up
down
with you,
the line. You understand? You get me? So it's important to stay on it. You know what I mean? If you miss one, then make sure you do it the next time and do the extra. You know, because.
So I guess the nuggets to take away from this for those young football players is. Take your warm up seriously.
Yeah,
you just don't know who's watching.
Yeah,
that's it. You never know who's watching. That's it. You never know who's watching. Even
take your career seriously.
Take your career seriously.
Take every day.
No, because a lot of these young boys just think, you know what? I'm not bothered about warm up. I'm going to show what I can do on the pitch. You know what I mean? But that warm up is the process towards the pitch. You know what I mean? Before you get on that pitch, they're watching how you stretching, how are you taking the warm up seriously? Because that shows how seriously you're going to take the match. You know what I mean? Like what you said about the boxer. You could tell that whenever the coach ain't looking, you're slacking, which means that in the fight, it's going to show where you've been slacking, you know?
Yeah.
So
When it starts getting tough, you will slack.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
So yeah.
So
And there's always someone looking. There's always someone watching. There's always someone watching.
you'd be surprised. Like coaches notice so much. I remember one particular manager who noticed everything, things that you wouldn't even think you notice. Like, how'd you even notice that? And they do. And I think you start to know, even as when you become a manager one day or whatever, you start knowing jinx in people's armoury. You'll see the warning signs very early. You know, someone might come in after a defeat and suddenly have a cold. Oh, Gaffer, I don't feel well. You start thinking, okay, cool, okay, I'll give him that one. 4 games down and 7 weeks later, we lose again. Oh, I've got a cold. Okay, that's what he does when he's not when he's had a bad game. He comes. We have some people after training, and when they've had a bad training session, they go to the manager. Oh yeah, so Gaffer, what do you think I did? And you're like thinking, please man, just take the bad session and go in. Like, always just try and come and get that reassurance, and you start noticing things.
Is that a bad thing? No, going to the Gaffer to say, oh, what do you think I did wrong? What could I have done better? You know,
if you do it only because you're doing it in a way that kind of showing, like, you had a bad session, okay, sometimes you got to accept it. You shouldn't always go, okay, look for reassurance
look for a pat on the back or someone to lift you.
Or someone to lift you. Not every time. Do it once or twice to know what you're doing.
Sometimes just take it on the chin, go away, come back and do better.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah, that is the answer,
yeah,
isn't it?
because sometimes I think they could deem that as being a bit, there's like feedback, and then there's like training sessions when, okay, we're training, you might have had a bad day, tomorrow come back out, don't come to me, because it's almost like, oh, sorry, and then
you're looking for reassurance for a bad performance when you're not going to get that. I told you it was a bad performance. Don't tell me what bits of it was good when I told you it was bad. You know what I mean? Go away, work on what I've told you was bad, and come back and do better, sort of thing. Don't come to me and say, oh, I know you said I did bad, but how was this or that? When they don't really go for that.
I think if you do it often, I think it'll show that you're a bit weak mentally. You know, I need reassurance. I need my hand held.
So, what should relationships be like with managers, with coaches? What is it like with a gaffer?
I think everyone's different, innit? Like, I didn't want to be the man. I didn't want to know the manager, basically. Like, when it was, I know, and I was like, everything I would do, I give it my all on the pitch, and I wouldn't. And sometimes I know I'm on fire. Like, you know, if you're a striker, you scored the last game before you scored today. You know you're doing all right. I don't need the manager to tell me. But what I found, if I felt I was doing all right and I was going well, my performance would drop because I just felt. The man scoring. The man just come up to me. What are you saying? It's spudding me. High five. Take the week off. Yeah. But if I didn't know what the manager was thinking, it kept me on my toes.
On your toes.
You know, if I didn't want to be his friend. I didn't want favours from the manager in that respect. So it kept me going. I often found, but again, you learn what works for you. Because at times, when I was a kid, I'd be scoring, doing well. Go to the manager. He'll know. I'll be joking around in training. And he'd be like, yeah, right. And then my performance just starts dropping. So I found me not having that interaction often with the manager. Sometimes I love it. I felt even better that knowing I had a good game on the Saturday, see the manager on Monday and just go, Gaffer, and keep walking. It just made me feel like
you're on job.
I'll show you again next week. I'm on it. I'll show you again. But he's just thinking, this guy doesn't even know. He doesn't even know he's playing well.
Confidence, and you don't have to. Don't seek for confidence outside.
It comes from within.
Yourself.
Everything comes from within.
Which actually brings me to my next question: how important is it for your parents to be a support system, especially when you're young, going into the game? You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, so this is interesting for me. It's an interesting question because, like, today, I think a lot of parents, and it's massive football now, and there is a lot of money involved, and you can get a lot of money very young, you know, and so parents somewhat do get too involved because of it. You know, they know, like, there is a good pot at the end if my child gets to where he can potentially get to. So sometimes it's shoved too much. It's like, do this, you can't do this, you can't do like whip. Sometimes just let it be. You know, I wasn't, not because my parents were, and a lot of sort of, don't say, but I'll say it, a lot of African parents are very more educational initially. School, you know, you know, academic. My family was quite academic, so I was only sort of athlete, sports person in the family.
I want to play football.
Yes, that's it. No, Johnny, get it. There was.
So you had that, yeah? Yeah, cause I want to know how you had that and you still made it, because that was enough for me to put my
So who was your strongest supporter? Was it
So I was fortunate that like my parents were there and they let me do it as long as my schoolwork was being done.
balance? Both parents, mum and dad, or
mum and dad.
mum was rooting for you more, dad was.
Nah, they were just mum. As I got older, they were both like. My mum was like, "Oh, my son,
When this
my
was the
son."
first paycheck,
My son. But at the initial point, they were just cool. As long as I did my schoolwork, they weren't like killing me to be a player, and they weren't not. They just let me be.
Let you do
and
your
I
thing.
fortunately had a couple of boys from my area that were Orient as well, so we all travelled together. So I didn't have my parents coming to games often or taking me to training. But what I found, it made me stronger.
Yeah.
I was at 15, I was taking the 30 from Highbury Corner to Hackney Wick.
Yeah,
and
it's a journey, isn't it?
It was a journey, and then it weren't looking like it looks now. The A12 all nice flyover. This was derelict. A scene out of Crime Watch. You're walking there just like, what? What's that? It was a lonely, tough walk. But I think it made me stronger.
Yeah.
It made me want it more. It gave me that resilience. And I'm not saying that like I begrudge my parents for not coming with me. Like they were working, and they're doing their thing, and I was doing my thing, but smoothly. If I needed them, they'll be there. But they weren't like like some parents now. They're very there. They're always so sometimes I find that kids can go back to their parents. Oh, what did I do? What did I do? And sometimes parents don't always get the answers. Sometimes you have to find from within at times. So I think there's a good balance. I'm not saying my way was the right way. I'm not saying that way is the other way is the correct way. But I think there's a fine balance. Sometimes you have to find your own answers at times with a bit of reassurance from older people, because they've got that wisdom as well about life. But don't be, nothing happens often when you're bang, 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 rapid, hitting something all the time. Sometimes you just let things breathe, let things go. And I just felt for my development, it helped me to just be tougher, stronger, and then I had good people, like good coaches along the way that I could confide in, or they'll drop me home after a game and they'll talk football. So maybe if you don't have your parents often being there, but you might have a good coach, that can talk the football, talk certain shop to you that your parents can't. So I think it is the balance, but I think if it's just too much and they want it more than the kid, then I think there's the
and I see that conflict all of the time. Do you understand? And to be honest, I think it's hard for the parents, just as hard as anything, because ultimately they want the best for their child, and I don't think they want the best for their child, and I think they just want to give them every opportunity that they even never had. You understand? You get me? So
but then you say that, and then you say, but then if you like, even with my child now, I got two girls, but the oldest one, sometimes I think, but she, like, and I was about 8. I was going to school, walking to school.
Yeah.
Like looking at her, thinking she's getting driven to school.
She can't do it.
The same. So are we making them stronger, or are we making them weaker by putting
all that around them,
or giving them everything? Like kids today, if they're indoors at a weekend, they're indoors. When I was sometimes a bit like my kids have been on their holidays. I didn't go on holiday too. Like when I was 17. I think sometimes
some of us didn't even go on holiday. We could afford our own. Let's be honest about it.
So these
birthday parties and McDonald's and everything.
And I think you're very right in that we're living in a total different time. Like they use this term snowflake. I don't want to get in trouble, but do you understand? You get me by anybody. You get me in terms of like all you youths. I love you youths, but they use this term innit about the generation of them not being mentally tough and mentally. Do you understand? And I think a lot of the reasons is they probably have a lot more to deal with than 10, 15 years ago, with the introduction of the likes of social media and things like that, which again, you either need to have an emotional maturity to be able to deal with social media, or you need to be taught how to deal with it. Do you understand? Because even the biggest and the strongest of us
can break
from
100%.
stuff that's said online, and do you understand? So I think that because they're surrounded in this world where everything's magnified, I think you mentioned it earlier, when you were playing football, a few people knew that you were playing football. So if you had got released, it wouldn't have barely made a ripple. But now, if you're a player and you might get released from, like, there's a sad story of a young kid at Man City.
Man City or Man U?
No, it was Man City.
It was Man City.
Yeah, Man City, and he took his life recently.
Yeah.
After being released by the club, and that. But I really want to give a message out to the kids, and I want you to just kind of say.
And he was young, wasn't he?
Very young, you know,
17.
Haven't seen anything yet. Like, I think that they need to understand that there is being a footballer is not all that defines you.
Yeah.
You're a brother, you're a daughter, you're a son, a mum, mum. But you understand? You understand? There's more. Football is not the only thing that defines a person or a player. Do you understand? And I just feel that knowing that, okay, failure is not the end of the world. Do you understand? Many people fail and go on to succeed. Do you understand? You get me? Being released from a club is not the end of the world. Do you understand? You can still get back in.
Being released is not the end of the. But for me, when I heard that story, I thought to myself, there was something going on in this young. There was some sort of pressure. That was on this young man that people were not taking. We're not taking heed on, or we're not. What's the word? They weren't noticing, you know, what was going on with this young. So for me, that's why I was saying to you about your parents and stuff, because I feel with some people, they put so much pressure, you know, on the young person to say, you need to do this, you need to do that, go away and do this. So when they don't achieve that, they feel as if that's it. That everyone's going to be disappointed with me. I say I've lost, and that's not the way it should be. You know, failure is not the end of the world. You need to fail to succeed. You know, that's the kind of way I've been. You know, so when I heard the story, it really saddened me. Because I thought to myself, for you know, that boy could be the next Rashford. So what? I mean, you go and talk to any pro team, they'll tell you how many times they got dropped. Go and talk to any successful person, they'll tell you how many times they failed or how many times they got told no. The fact that this young man just got released, and off the back of that, he felt the need to take his life, I feel is a big issue that really needs to be addressed with young people who are living professional lives. You know, we need to take more care into their mental
their mental
well-being,
health,
their mental health and their mental well-being. What are they? You know, because for most of his friends who are not footballers, are probably looking at, they all want to be like you. You don't realise the amount of people that, even the fact that you got released. The fact that someone could even come and say, I just got released from Man City. That's like you played for Man City to get released from Man City. That's already a big deal. So it's like,
so you're achieving so much and you're doing so much already, but someone just needs to tell you that, listen, you're already in the percentile that is not a normal percentile. Do you understand? You're high. You understand what I'm trying to say to you? What you're doing is unique. So give yourself that breather to know, okay, then I'm on this path and I can do it. I might not be the best at my game now, but I can get there. I can still work, and there's still gonna be further opportunities, you know. So
so I guess the question for you, Jabs, is
what advice would you give to players who
what advice would you give? First of all, what advice would you give to because I'm sure there's players out there who are gonna watch this, are gonna see this, and they're going through some sort of pressure, you know, either from friends, from the manager, from parents. What advice would you give to those players who are getting pressure for them to do more, achieve more?
Yeah, I mean, like we alluded to just seconds ago, in terms of like, it was different when I was playing. There wasn't that social media present. You know, I think social media came about when I was probably about 24, 25, so I went 15, 16 dealing with that pressure. But what I see today is that, you know, I don't think youngsters are taught enough about how to handle the pressure of social media. They're not taught to sort of like, if someone says certain things to you, how to deal with it. So I think from a football standpoint, they could do more in teaching many young people, not just football players, but many young people across the board, what is social media and how it really works. You know, in terms of as a sportsman, as a professional football player, I think that as a young person, it's always good to talk to somebody. You know, sometimes it can't always be your parents, but you have other people like a good coach, a good friend who's going through similar thing. Because that's the wonderful thing about going through the youth team, and you make your best football friends in your youth team because you're all going through the same thing. You know, no one's there. We're all trying to aspire to break in.
To be the next
so
one,
sometimes I often had like a couple of boys used to go home on the train with, we'll all talk about the same thing. What do you reckon about tomorrow? So confining them, talk. You know, don't feel afraid to talk, because sometimes you can often say certain things to your parents, and sometimes your parents don't get it. But a good coach, and the sad thing as well, especially for a lot of black players, is you're not sometimes represented culturally within the club you're at. So sometimes when I was at Orient, I had Chris Ramsey was my youth team manager or youth development officer. So, you know, he would tell me things as a black player that maybe another coach couldn't tell me those gems sort of thing. So
I couldn't relate.
You couldn't relate, and it ain't just because of colour. It's the culture. You know, like we might eat certain foods that others won't, but I can go and have a little joke and you put me at ease because we're on the same wavelength. You know what I mean? So I think if like youngsters, especially when you're up north, it's even different. London's
It's multicultural.
When you're up north if you've got things, you might be able to tell a certain coach because you've got cultural differences. Not talking about colour, I'm talking about the culture. We're not from the same. So having that representation more across the clubs will definitely help that, you know? But I definitely think if you're going through tough times, speak to your coaches. Speak to your fellow teammates, because they're going through certain things. We all go through times when you're not confident, you know? But when we're not confident, what you find, you start doing the extravagant stuff. Go back to basics. You know, I often find a striker, when I wasn't confident and someone tries to play me the ball, I'll try to do some mad turn, a mad flick. And I know if it comes off, people go, right, he's back. If it doesn't come off, he tried something. But if I try to control the ball like I should and it comes off, I've got no excuse. Someone's going to turn around and say, how can you not control that? But if I try a flick, and doesn't come off, he tried something.
It didn't work, you know what I mean? But if you just try to standard pass and the ball goes off, you're like, what's he doing?
So that's what happens. You start doing extravagant stuff, and then you're never going to get your confidence back if you don't start with the basics. So go and start just doing little passing drills. Just get the ball comes into your feet, you trap it. You do that about 10 times. Suddenly you start feeling better. You start feeling better. Then the other stuff just comes naturally. You can't just go from there to there. So when you are struggling with confidence, just take a step back from it and go, okay, cool. This is what I'm about. This is what I do. Because every player has their strong point, what they're good at. So go back to doing what you're good at. Practice the little things. Build it. Then it will come.
I've heard that somebody, I'm not sure who this was, but it was a player that's saying that when he was going through a bad time, he would go back and do everything like he used to do, or like when he felt good about himself, or when he felt, do you understand? So even as simple as if it was playing a song in the morning before he 100%. There will be something that he did or used to do that puts him in a frame of mind, you understand? You get me? And from everything, so he might wake up at 8 to train, or make, you understand, something that he did when he burst on, or when everybody was like, yo, you're so good, go back to that time. What was I doing that time there when everybody
Let me go back to that.
You understand? You get me? And try to
and that is the key. That is the juice. I always say it's like when you start playing, like I said, you get to a certain point where you know how to have a good game. When you're starting out, you have good games, and you're just like, bloody hell, I didn't even know, I felt crap before the game. How did I play like that? Because there'll be times, and I bet you loads of players will say, they warm up, they feel really good. I feel really good today. Wilson goes, wow, boy, I can't even move. I feel dead. But there's times you're in the warm up and you feel sluggish. The game starts, you feel brilliant. You're on it. So you have to find. So why is there two different contrasts? You have to then start studying yourself. What time did I sleep? What did I eat the last couple of days? am I watching telly? Did I read a book? Am I watching a YouTube clip that inspires me? Have I had 100 shots this week in the goal?
Yeah.
You know, start figuring it out. Once you figure it out, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Little and often, but keep doing it. If you know going to bed at 10 o'clock is going to make you run better, give you a lot of energy, you have pasta, chicken, baked beans on a Friday, loads of carbs, and you go play well Saturday, why don't you do it next Saturday?
Yeah.
What happens is they have a good game and they forget about it.
Forget
They
about
only
what
go
they
back
did.
to that when it's crisis.
Yeah.
Why wait for crisis?
Yeah.
Little and often. It's like, in general, people in life, you know, they go into Monday, everyone says, back to work on Monday, because they go out Friday, drink Saturday, knackered Sunday, expect to be buzzing on Monday. How about don't drink? How about sleep well on Saturday, sleep well Sunday? You'll go fresh to work
You're
on
gonna
Monday.
wake up extra early on Monday, feeling extra fresh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you know that, but people, simple things to do is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
Definitely, all the
You know,
time.
the best people do the simple things well.
Well,
Simple as that.
Well.
There's no maybe. The best people do it day in, day out. Ronaldo, day in, day out. Same thing. My man
Hendo,
doing
world class.
a mad
Henderson.
session. He's doing a mad session. He's doing a mad
I always
session
get slated
after
for that one.
after a game on Saturday. Ronaldo Sunday doing all this and all that. You're thinking, man's normally just chilling in bed. That's why he's at that
That's
level.
exactly.
That's why they're
Drive
there.
is still
But what's
there.
The work ethic.
The work
you know,
ethic.
same thing. Like everyone's like Floyd Mayweather. I saw this documentary on Floyd Mayweather just quickly.
Yeah.
And he runs twice a day. Like I think for like 5 months or something.
Yeah.
He wakes up at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and runs. And then in the evening again at 9 p.m. he runs again
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
No days off.
There you go.
Not one day off.
Yeah. See that?
This is what you do to be the best.
That's
You know.
exactly that.
Which probably leads us to the next question. So, you know, the kind of advice that you give to young aspiring ballers who are playing for grassroots football teams and are trying to break through, what kind of advice would you give them, you know?
Yeah, I'm bridging the gap
yeah.
trying to, because if you're playing grassroots, because I get players that call me all the time, do you understand? Some of them may have been through some sort of academy system, some of them haven't, and they're 17, 18, 19. Far be it from me to tell anybody whose dream is that you're not going to achieve it, that you understand. So I never told them that, but what I do try to explain to them is that, look, there's ways in which you can try to bridge the gap. The players that you are aspiring to be right now, he's your age, but he's in Manchester United, he's at an academy somewhere else, and they're training him this amount of times a day, he's getting this sort of education on football, he's doing this, he's doing that. So how can you bridge the gap? What should you be doing if you want to make it into a pro team from...
I just think, and this is just for even life, just give yourself the best chance. Give yourself the best chance. No one's gonna say, by doing everything, it's gonna happen. And no one's gonna say, by not doing it, it's not gonna happen. But give yourself a chance. I say this analogy, like if you've seen a beautiful girl on the street, but your trim's all dead and you look rough and your clothes are all dead, you're probably not gonna have a chance. But if you were fresh and you're always prepared, you look good, you've got half a chance. You've got a better chance. You know what I mean? So if you're at grassroots and you want to aspire to be Rashford or get into academy or something, then you have to. What do I do? What am I about? What tools have I got? Okay, I'm quick. I've got a hell of a strike on the ball. I'm sharp. I can dribble well. So then go practice that. Be consistent. Not saying do something. I have to do 100 sit-ups. I got to do 100 shots today. Maybe just do 10, little and often. Then doing 100 Wednesday and not doing it for 3 weeks and expect to get chip away at it. You know, I think be the best version of yourself that you can be. Then you've got a chance. You know, if you're studying someone. And there's so with YouTube now, there's so much information. If you're studying a striker or defender, you click on YouTube, best defenders, striker training, striker awareness, striker movement. You can be studying it. If you're gonna put in the work, you can do it. If you have got, don't get really I'm not saying be delusional and kid yourself, but if you believe it, firstly that you're halfway there. Then if you're gonna put in the work, you're another step there. and then it's just doing it and repetition, little and often, all the time.
I think it's that. I think it's 100%. You're right there, but I think that in the game that we're in, and we come across a lot of young players, and almost, I think a few weeks ago we had a conversation where I've sent a player down to you, and he didn't have his boots, so he wasn't ready, but I got introduced to him from his mum, who's saying, my son, he's a really good footballer, he's been out, he's done this, he's done that, but I know I can't send you on trial if I don't know you. I don't know your personality, I don't know your mindset, I'm not going to send you to a club, do you understand? But I'll send you somewhere, assess him. What do you think of this player? Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? So,
the fact that you turn up with no boots,
no tools,
you could be the next...
Do you understand?
So and have you given yourself
Ronaldo
a chance?
or whatever,
yeah.
but you ain't.
And to be fair, I don't want to give him no excuses because I don't care. I think he should have had his boots, but his thing was, okay, he had a driving lesson or something earlier, and he wasn't even sure he was going to be able to make it to the session. But I said to him, go down there, go introduce yourself, get to know, because you told me you want to play football. If I say to you, there's a football, you should be. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you?
Be ready.
But this goes back to what Jabo's saying. Always be ready. Yeah. The opportunity can arise anywhere. So you didn't know, you had a driving lesson, but you know you're going to just put your boots in the bag. Yeah. Just
you know that you're going there. Yes.
Be prepared.
And be prepared. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? But like, I've not, since I think maybe I spoke to the kid once or twice after that and the kid's mum. But again, they're not chasing me down. I'm not chasing him down. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? Because
so nothing is really.
No.
Yeah, because but I'm on job. I've got a job to do. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? Like I want people who.
And if I'm giving you the opportunity, you're supposed to now grab it with both hands. It shouldn't be me having to chase you. You should be like, Uncle Josh, what's happening? I know you come back to me. What can happen?
But that's the chink in the armory right there. What I was saying about the little things that might stand out. Do the right things. You don't have your boots. You're not going to then make the call. Your parents ain't going to be on it. It's just, we don't really care enough.
Yeah.
If you care, your boots would be the first thing. It all mirrors about a personality. And little things that you just think, that doesn't matter. It matters. Because when the parents want feedback, he wants feedback. Is he ringing you? Because he doesn't care. It doesn't matter enough.
Exactly.
Leaving my boots at home doesn't matter enough.
But you can't call me because I want serious players and I want serious athletes, people who want to play. You understand? You get me? And who will do anything to play. Do you understand? You get me? Like, but I don't. I think that there's a lot of. I think that there's a lot of that with our youngsters. And again, maybe it's excused because of age. But in the end, you're not going to be young forever, and you will be sitting there someday saying, "Oh, I should have done this when I had the chance." Do you understand?
The thing is, ultimately, the thing that ends up letting a lot of youngsters down isn't the football.
Yeah.
It's everything else but the football. It is lateness. It is responsibility. Look at the guy who didn't bring his boots. I mean, if you're a football player, how are you not bringing your tools?
Yeah.
Is that anything to do with your actual ability?
Stay strapped.
No. You don't turn up on time. Your attitude might be a certain kind of way. It's nothing to do with actually football.
Yeah.
So, those things you can change.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah.
So
don't let something that's not your football stop you.
So as a young person, do the simple things well. Don't think to yourself that it doesn't matter. These things matter. And listen to any top athlete, and if you watch like The Last Dance, Ronaldo's video, listen to what they say. Yeah. They repeat the same thing all the time. Repetition.
Consistency.
You are what you do
daily.
Yeah. That's who you are. I'm great. I do this. Well, if you don't do greatness all the time, then you're not. You know what I mean? And I think that's what as a young person, the ones that end up making it and getting pros, the ones that do those things well.
Yeah, I think, and we see that as well. Even when you're watching players, you can see that sometimes you can see a player that's good, but then you see a player that's consistent.
There you go.
Yeah. The player that's consistent goes further than the player that's good.
Every time.
You know what I mean? Every single time.
How many times you've heard, he wasn't that good though, how's he a pro? But he did all the other stuff. My man had bare feet, he had this, he had done bare nutmegs. But there's so much elements and ingredients that makes a professional player.
Yes.
Ain't just. And again,
what about my man on the wing that's been running up and down consistently?
Yeah.
He's the one that's been making all the plays.
Putting in the work.
You're there watching the striker, but no, we're watching the guy on the wing that's been making those. This is the reason why the ball's been getting to you in the first place, you know?
There you go. There you go. And I think the problem again with young players today, because of a lot of gimmicks on social media, that work ethic is lost. They feel a lesser player or lesser person if they run. But they feel better if they do a step over nutmeg someone, if I'm a baller. No. And you often hear on some sites that they rubbish Roy Keane. Mate, Roy Keane was a player, or Henderson. They're players, but their ethic is a madness. World class. They're playing at top. They're playing at...
Somebody get
that. You wonder how they're playing in top teams with top players around them and even being skippers.
Yeah. And because people don't rate them, I'm like, you're rating the wrong thing.
There you go. And there's so many football styles of football players that make a footballer and make a team. They all, again, it's like a good food. There's all mixes of ingredients to make something taste good.
He might not have the greatest skill, might not have this, but he's got endurance. And he can do 90 minutes and not get tired.
There you go. And that's what I bring to the table. Everyone young. It's about knowing what you are and bringing your skill set to the table. You know, like when I was playing, I was very good at getting the ball out from a goal kick, trapping it down on my chest, turning and going. I do it really well. And that's if I get brought into a team, that's what they're bringing me in to do. They're not bringing me in to do certain things.
To do step-overs.
Go and do your job.
Long ball, boom, down,
set, get in the box and score, because I picked up good areas at the back post to score. That's it. I went there to get the ball, chuck a shoulder, do that. And when I was a kid, that's what I used to try and do. I could hit, I was a bit more wavy. I could drop a shoulder, curl it, top bin or something. But I couldn't do it consistently. You know, it'd be good.
And then one would
9 out of 10. Then I'd be, well, what's happened to him? What's he? But then I learned to be consistent, and I think all youngsters, they're not clear on what they want to be and what they want to do, or they feel like that skill set is devalued because I'm a right back and I bomb up and down. But it's great if you can bomb up and down and no one goes past you. That's your skill set, and that's what you get brought into a club. You don't have to be drifting inside, double step over, hitting it top bins, and you have to have confidence in that and work at that. There's no point of working on something else, you know. And like if I bring in a plumber to my house, but I'm bringing him to fix my sinks and do the water. I'm not bringing him to do the electricity. You know, so do your job.
Definitely.
And I think make it when things are clearer in your head, you know, then you can get your direction. You know where you're going. So as a younger person, know what you're about, make things clear, and work at it. And little things.
And again, it's so important that because from the level of or transitioning from academy into the first team, so much at stake. It's promotion, it's relegation. Do you understand? People's jobs, livelihoods, from the dinner lady and the canteen staff. Do you understand? Me. So the manager's job's on the line. He wants to know, if I put this player in my team on Saturday, I'm still going to have a job on Monday.
There you go.
That's what he's concerned about. Do you understand? So before a manager puts you in, they have to see these things. They have to have that trust. They have to have that faith in you. They have to know that, okay, if I tell him to run 10 times, he's going to give me 10 or 11. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? He's not going to give me 9.5 or 9. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? So these are the things that will make the difference. So any young player watching, listen to the sound of my voice now, like, the sooner that you understand that, the quicker that you will be to making that progression. Do you understand?
And the sad thing is, or another reality is that often you drop these gems, you drop these tools, you say these things to people, and like, they'll start doing it when the window's a little bit closed. You telling them now, while you're 16, 17, 18, what you can do today, don't do tomorrow. Do it today. Because you're going to start doing it at like 23, 24, 25. I see people start doing fitness, looking good. Why weren't you doing that when you're younger, when the opportunity was right?
Was there.
You're doing it
was there.
28, 30, they're in the best shape of their life. But back then they're eating chicken, Dixie chicken and whatever.
It's age, it's hindsight, and I think this is one of the things. Hopefully, anybody that listens to this that is young, you take it and it sinks in early because 100%. You know, like there's no cure for being young. You understand what I'm trying to say to you? Like sometimes you just have to go through it. Sometimes you just have to experience it. But you've got the likes of Jabo, myself. There is enough stuff for you and enough people who've been down that path who can say to you, mate, listen, I've seen this, I've done this before. Stop. You let me go back. You need to do it this way. You need to do it that way. Like I think one thing I find is people have advisors and have people around them who can give good advice, but they don't take it. They still, especially when you're a player and all the world is kind of telling you yes and you're great at this, you're this, you understand what I'm trying to say to you? It can go to your head and you can lose sight of some of the things that got you to these positions and some of the people that are actually there for you and actually have the right advice or even who've seen before. Do you understand? You get me? People who have seen before. You understand? It's important to listen to them and take their advice.
I think, based on everything that we've spoken about today, if there's any young people watching, the one message I want to put out is failure does not mean defeat.
Yeah, it doesn't.
You know, just because you fail at something doesn't mean you're defeated. You get back up and you go again.
Bounce
back
ability.
Failure breeds success. You just keep on going. It's your passion. It's what you want to do. Don't worry. You will, as long as it's what you want to do, you will make it. Yeah. It is what you want to do.
You don't lose when you fail. You actually win.
Yeah.
You win knowledge. You gain knowledge.
Because you're not necessarily failing.
No.
You're learning. It's a lesson.
It's a lesson.
Yeah.
It's a lesson. You're still growing. You're still young. Anything that you feel is a failure in your life is only a lesson because you're still growing.
The amount of people that have, I had a friend of mine, good friend of mine, Aaron McLean, who we were in the youth team. We were like a really good strike partnership. We banged up the youth team, and then he got pro. Then he sort of went on loan to Grays and kind of got released. Then he dropped out to Grays Athletic, and then he went to Aldershot. Started scoring goals at Grays. Got moved to Aldershot. Then got moved to Peterborough. From Peterborough went to Hull. You know, ended up playing in the Premier League. You know, so he went back, but he found himself. It made him harder. He learned the little things that he didn't achieve.
The
there.
road to success is not like this. Sometimes it goes like this,
and
100%.
you know, but you still get there in the end.
And I'm glad you touched there because I really want to touch on that, and I really want to touch on again players who have been released, players who haven't got a club, players who are even at a club but they're looking for loan clubs. I think I find a lot of the time players turn down opportunity because they want a better opportunity or they think a better opportunity when sometimes you just need to play, you just need to get games under your belt. Do you understand? Might mention a league or mention a club and say, okay, I want you're not playing, you ain't got no club. You understand? You get me? But this club said that they'll have a look at you, and they'll be scratching their head and saying, I didn't see myself playing there because what? Because Man United are knocking your door or what? Because no, they're not. Do you understand? The thing that's gonna get your career back on track is playing games. It's playing games. If you've got 10 professional games, you're better off than if you've got none. If you've got 20 professional games, you better. You understand? If you've got 100 professional games under your belt, you're a seasoned pro. You can get a job in anywhere, in any country, playing football. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? You'll get a job, you know what I mean? And the level is just going to be dependent on how hard you work once you've been given that opportunity. Do you understand? Like his mate there, Grays, Aldershot, it's never, but he ended up he ended up in the Premier League. You understand? But if he had just taken his rejection, or he had said, you know what, Grays, wait a minute, Grays, where's that rubbish club down there? Like, with that mentality and that one. And what would have happened is, he just wouldn't have done nothing. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? But by taking the step, do you understand? You get me? Like,
that's the good thing though.
Puts
so
you on the
make
path.
like that. He's got testimony. You can say, listen, you might look at me now playing for a Premier League football team, but let me just tell you, the journey wasn't like this, you know. I didn't just go from here to here. I went from here to here. I've had lows, middle highs, high highs to high highs. You know, this is the process. You know,
and it's the process for many.
Yeah.
Loads. My friend George Baldock playing in Sheffield United now. I was with him at MK Dons, and his work ethic was unbelievable. Like, he wasn't just, there was a couple of senior right backs in at the time and right wing he could play midfield. But he would just play where he could play, because when you're youngster, they just try and get you in the team.
Yeah.
But he always worked hard. He really did. Then he went on loan. Then he eventually went on loan to Oxford, and then I played against Oxford a few years later, and I was like, Jesus, what have you done? Like, he was a machine.
Yeah.
Up and down, on it. Went from strength to strength to strength. League 2, League 1, Championship, Premiership.
Yeah. But you have to get started. You can't be sitting and waiting for an opportunity. When the opportunity's presented itself and you're still looking like, God, give me opportunity. But he put the opportunity there, but you're the one who's looking at it and you're thinking, oh, no, this ain't for me. I'm too good to go there. I'm too nice. I'm better than this. But if you were better than it, you would be somewhere. And not only that, go there and show that you're better than it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? Show that you'll be the best. And like, I would say to people like, well, if you're not the best at where you are, how do you want to be the best somewhere else? Do you understand? Yeah, I mean, aim to be the best. Let them say that, okay, right, now you can't ramp with him. He's the best at that position. He does,
and I think it's the mentality that you're going, if you're going on loan somewhere, some players would just see the loan as a time away from the club. They're going somewhere lesser than the parent club, and they just want to go, I'll just kick around, but I'm going to play some games.
I'm better than this lot.
Other people go there, okay, I'm going to be the best in this team, then my club's going to call me back because they want me to play in the first team.
Yeah.
That's the attitude you need to go with. That's the mentality you need to go with. Because you're going on loan to better yourself. You're not going on loan to do anyone favours.
Yeah. So always keep the same energy.
There you
know
go.
what I mean? Don't let it deplete just because you feel as if I'm going to a lower league team.
I've seen it so many times.
I remember a time when I just got signed for MK Dons, and it was Roberto Di Matteo who signed me, and then that summer he got poached to go to West Brom. So I was like, and I was injured from the team I just come from. So then Paul Wince got brought in, and Carl Robertson, and like, I was injured, the pre-season's gone, and I weren't their player. They'd seen me play. Someone else brought me to the club. So when I was fit now, I joined the team. It was my first season there, and I was just like a bit nervous, and had all these like Jason Punching was there, Chadwick was there, all these names. I was like, wow. And I again, I was in training, and my touch was baggy. I couldn't, and I just felt didn't want to be there. So eventually, I went on loan. I went on loan to Stockport, and they were League One, and they were fighting near the bottom. But I thought, I'm going to go there, I'm going to get fit, because I just come back from injury, and I'm going to show these guys at MK Dons that I should be playing. And then I'm going to go show people at Stockport that you need to sign me. So it was a double, do well for them.
Opportunity.
And it's an opportunity. That's why I did it. They were rock bottom, but every game I was trending that performance. We were getting like beat 4-0. We played Charlton one time, we lost 4-0, but I got man of the match. How'd you lose 4-0 and get man of the match? But that's the way I was on a mission. Came back to MK Dons the following year, strong, confident. I started doing, like I said, I was a bit nervous. I started practicing, doing my touch, doing my shooting. They didn't want to play me, and whenever I hear people say, the manager didn't want to play me, the manager didn't, I've said, no, don't use that as an excuse, you know. If the manager don't want to play you, you make him play you. You go and be that good in training. Everyone starts going, boy, he needs to start playing. You come in a sub, you do a thing. And then you go and train, you're consistent. And when you get your chance, you take it. And then sometimes you go and score, and then they'll be like, boy, and they want to get you out, but you're playing that well, you can't. For the next 12, 15 games, I was on job, player of the month, this and that. And as I always say, it's an excuse. Don't want to hear it. Work that hard, he will have to play you. Be that good. Don't look for excuses. Sometimes you
Coach
have to be black and white.
All that.
No, make him. Like he will like you if you're doing the business. He wants his job.
He wants his job.
You
know what I mean? It's not personal. He wants to be in the job. You give him, do something that will keep him in the job. He'll put you in. You know. And oftentimes it is as simple as that. But I think you can get caught up in your own head, in your own ego. I think it's all about you. And you know what I mean?
A lot of it is ego with some young guys now. You know, they rather stay in the banner of being at a top club then maybe drop a bit lower to play the
and
games.
go and work,
you know, and then they'll go out to go on loan when it's kind of too late.
Yeah, and that's my biggest gripe is the ones that wait until it's too late. You tell them you're there with them, you understand, and you're saying, look, there's an opportunity here, go and take it. But because perhaps they think that they're better, but in a year's time they're going back to that same opportunity that if they took, they would be a year forward. You understand? They'll be a year forward. So,
and what you find as well, clubs look for players that are playing, that 17, 18 playing non-league.
You
look at players like that, because you're thinking, he's 17, 18 playing men's football.
Already.
He's 17, 18 playing in the youth team at a top club. Just not the same. If you're 17, 18 playing in Conference South or the National League, people looking at you thinking, bro, if he's playing like that, he'll rip our youth team apart. So they watch. But if you're 20, 21 playing in 23s, I'm not saying it's bad, but you need to get that man experience. You need to get that real experience of a dressing room, you know, where the games really do matter. You got a man who's 30, breaking down a door because we lost. You know what I mean? You need to feel that and that physical.
The game's changed. The game's changed. You're not in the game until you've hit 23, 24 and you're in the game. You can be in the game at 20 and be out of the game by 23.
And the thing is, you can't take it for granted. You know, every season's another season to be a new person. You know, you can't rest on last season. And many managers say you're only as good as your last game. It's true. Because it's so fickle sometimes.
And there's so much talent coming through, so much people wanting that jersey that you've got on your back. There's someone else that wants it. You understand what I'm trying to say to you? So
there's been some great nuggets, you know, that have been shared today. So just for us rounding up, I know, Jabo, if you want to tell us, you know, where can we, what are you doing yourself now? Where can we find you? How can we follow you? Just for the viewers out there, let them know what you're doing.
So basically, like I said, I'm recently retired, so I'm doing some work at Brentford in recruitment, as well as we run our own sort of showcase. We won't say showcase academy. We're going to be like a showcase consultancy. So basically, we will get players through that we've sort of recruited ourselves, or through agencies, through whispers. We like to sort of train and give you, like, guide you to the tools that you need to present yourself in a match. Then we'll put on games, invite scouts and coaches to come down and hopefully get a lot of players recruited. We started this last August. We had 7 players turn pro, 24 went in on trial, and this was just in the space of August to October. So we have the network, we have the contacts, and we kind of know, like I said, there was a guy called Lucas who ended up going to sign for, I think, Hampton and Richmond, but he had a lot of tools, really powerful, really quick, good feet, could cross, but he was doing everything, loads of things. We just said, simplify, drive down, whip it, that's it, up and down, whip, up and down, whip. Every training session got better and better and better. Just got signed like that. We had another guy who was with us, and then he made his debut for Brentford in the FA Cup last week. You know, and he was without a club in the summer. So it can happen. It really can, if you listen and you're ready to take on board those things. So we do that as well. I'm doing some punditry. I'm studying to be a board member as well. So I'm into a few different things and keeping myself busy. But our main thing, I think, would want to be to help kids on that periphery to make it pro and try and guide them. With our Showcase Academy, that's what you'll be doing. So you can find me on Instagram, Jab Move Easy. Once our website and Instagram.
Jab Move Easy.
Jab Move Easy is my Instagram hold on Twitter. But once our website is up and stuff, I'll put it out there. But
hopefully we'll have it in time to put it on the bio of this episode, so you can go and follow him. I think mainly you deal with a lot of, or not only, but a lot of players who have been released, who've been in the systems and stuff like that, who've been released, who are looking for new opportunities to get back into the game.
100%. And again, a lot of the time, it's nothing to do with their ability. And often some of the questions, you're like, ain't no one told you this before. And sometimes coaches don't. Some places you're at clubs and they haven't just told you certain things, and you're like, a lot of boys are talented.
Yeah, most
and often, and even a couple of times we've had training sessions and say we're starting at 3. The kid turns up at like 3:45, and then we're picking the team. We don't pick him.
Yeah.
And he's good to be like, can't pick you then.
Yeah, it doesn't
You know,
work
it doesn't
like
work
that.
And the opportunity's gone.
Yeah.
You know, this could have been your game. This could have been you.
Someone there watching you, and
Yeah.
you missed the opportunity.
And often with a lot of young boys, it is those things. So if it does happen to you, and you do get released, try and learn. Try and take the feedback of what people say, and try and make yourself better. Don't just take it and go away and say, yeah, whatever. Try and learn. And make yourself, improve yourself, and like I said, be the best you can be, and give yourself a chance. And more times than not, you the harder you work, the luckier you become.
Most def. That's a great way to end the show.
Great way. Thank you very much.
So on that note, guys, that brings us to the end of another episode of the Hard Work Project. Just want to say a big thank you again to Jabo for dropping some nuggets and just sharing the time with us today. It has been extremely insightful. I'm sure. For me, I'm sure it's been the same for Josh as well.
Definitely.
Again, I've been your host, Collington Jones, co-host here, Josh, and sure just want to say a couple of things as well.
Yeah, before we go, just again want to big up a few local businesses working hard in the community, doing their thing. So we've got Forever Young Couture, FYC, my boy Pat, big you up, big up yourself, keep working hard, my boy. We've got Mindkite here. These are a mindfulness app which is coming out soon. They're on Instagram. Go follow them. It's all about mental well-being, and they're doing a lot of good stuff with in the community and with young people. So go check them out.
Brilliant. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah.
Hit that subscribe button. And make sure you tune to our next episode.
Yep. We're all open for your questions, comments. We really want to get into the conversation. So if there's anything that interests you, feel free and let's talk. Yep.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace out.
Peace.
Get into these sweets now.
Yeah.